Our product follows real media conventions as we chose to base these conventions off electronic music. These conventions are surrealism, performance, and narrative, all of which we used in our video in some way or another. What we did was combine all three to create a narrative-based video with some surreal aspects and a little bit of performance as we added a DJ. Although the DJ isn't completely connected to the narrative, it does cut between the story and... We follow conventions by simply following two electronic artists that are quite popular in the mainstream. Deadmau5's Ghosts and Stuff and Calvin Harris's Bounce songs both use the same journey type aspect that our video uses. They both include a man going on a journey in some way or another, reaching a certain destination. We combine this with the whole love song aspect that we see in a lot of other mainstream videos and created a narrative through this. Even though we decided to hide the face for the most part in the video, for the digipack I decided to keep the face as the centerpiece of the album. The reason for this is that the audience can remind themselves who the artist actually is. I did consider hiding the face, but then thought that brand awareness would get in the way. If the audience wasn't aware who the person was, then how would they know who it was to buy the album from? If the audience didn't know that the artist was the same artist that made the song they like, then why would they buy the album? This is something I took into consideration while creating my digipack. Another convention that we did break, however, was the color scheme of the video and the digipack. Usually, electronic videos and digipacks are connected with neon colors, usually very extreme bright greens and blues. We decided not to go for this, however, as we went for a more gritty and real color scheme for our video and our digipack. We based this off Knife Party's Rage Valley EP. I used some inspiration in the color scheme for my 3D effect on the person in the middle of the album. However, for the most part, the color scheme is solid reds. The reason for this is I wanted a consistent color throughout, which didn't clash with the rest of the aspects on the album. This again was based off Knife Party's Rage Valley EP. An important aspect that we had to borrow from conventional videos was fast-paced cuts. As the music itself is pretty fast-paced, we needed fast-paced cuts to catch up with the music. This shows the hectic nature of the car trying to reach its destination. This also helped with the introduction of the DJ and our performance aspect, as we didn't want too much of the DJ to interrupt with the narrative aspect of the video. We did, however, use parallel editing to keep cutting between the train, the car, and the DJ. This again was important to keep with the fast-paced nature of the video. The fast-paced nature of the video pretty much originates from the title of our song, Bullet Train. This helps keep the song in a literal form, and connects to some of the lyrics, like moving at the speed of sound, showed through the fast-paced cuts and the speed of the vehicle. We tried hard to conform to most of the main aspects of electronic artists, however we did add our own twist to keep the video interesting. We believe that we were successful in conforming the right stereotypes and aspects of the video. However, we feel that we've challenged the conventions of media text enough to keep the video fresh and interesting. Personally, I feel that we were successful in the combination between our primary and auxiliary text. Our video was definitely within the confines of a normal electronic video, as we conformed to some stereotypes and conventions, but we also challenged them as well. It was important to get that balance, as we didn't want to alienate ourselves. Our auxiliary texts are also affected by real-world electronic albums. Personally, I took to Pendulum's Immersion and Knife Party's Rage Valley as inspiration, among some other albums like Calvin Harris's 18 Months. We created our own albums, posters, and inlays using a make-believe artist that we created, inspired by the albums that we researched. I also took inspiration from outside texts. Futuristic movies like Robocop and Tron also link into the electronic genre because of their electronic influence. The futuristic vibe is shared between the movies and The futuristic vibe is pretty much an electronic stereotype, which makes it very easy for us to draw inspiration from outside texts as well as texts in the electronic genre. Overall, I believe my primary and auxiliary texts combine quite well. Although on the surface they do seem quite different, there are some extreme similarities between the two. Both the video and the digipack are very minimalistic in the editing that is involved. This does not include fast cuts, as they can't be implemented into digipacks, but any special effects that have been added into the video or the digipack itself are very minimal. The video has a few motion blurs to show how fast the car is going, and the digipack has a 3D effect, but not much else special effects. This helps maintain brand awareness, but it also doesn't clutter the screen with too many objects at one time. The minimalistic nature of both the video and the digipack connect with each other. The way in which it does this is it maintains a sense of intrigue. The viewer has the basis of which to think of what the video or the digipack is about, but they can make their own decisions on what the overall storyline of the video is about, or the digipack. This is a trait that I tried to combine with the video and the digipack as a trait for my artist, Distort. The audience research was an integral part in creating our digipack and our video. Using the audience feedback, we shaped our digipacks and videos to fit both our vision and the audience's vision. We asked the interviewees a variety of questions, the first being whether or not they preferred a storyline or a performance in the electronic video. The overall feedback suggested a narrative, and that was what we suggested as well, so some of the feedback paralleled with ours. We also asked them what they personally enjoyed in music videos. We asked this because they are the audience and they're the ones watching it, so we wanted to get their feedback to make the video as enjoyable for them as it was for us to create it. We also asked them to explain what they expected in the electronic genre, what were the three main things they wanted, or what are the main things they'd expect in an electronic video. We tried to add these and make them accessible to the electronic audience that enjoyed these, but we also wanted to put our own twist on it. Feedback such as the color scheme and how fast the cuts should be were integral in creating the video. We took this into consideration and they were the main direction for our video. Overall, I learned what people's views on the electronic genre were. Using this, I learned that different people have different views on the electronic genre, but there are a few aspects that do collide, whether or not you're a hardcore fan or just a fan that dabbles in and out from now and again. Everything they said was took into consideration and we added it to their video. With hindsight, we could have dabbled into more fans of different genres and what they'd expect from electronic music, rather than the electronic fans themselves. Overall though, the audience feedback was the integral turning point for our video, in which we'd actually found out concretely what we wanted to do, and we edited our previous idea to fit in with the views of the audience. Within the research, I used a variety of different technologies to present in different ways. For example, I used Prezi over PowerPoint to create a more visually appealing and easier to read presentation. This also gave us a variety of different ways to present our work. Just having PowerPoints would be a bit tedious to keep looking at, and having a variety would show our knowledge of multiple technologies and softwares. There were advantages to using both Prezi and PowerPoint. However, Prezi was good for visually showing the viewer certain aspects, whereas PowerPoint was good for just pointing out areas rather than a specific point. Because PowerPoint doesn't have a direct embedding tool, SlideShare was extremely useful. It allowed us to put our PowerPoints onto the blog with minimal problems. Of course, what you're viewing now is the collection. Not all things were done digitally. Our original storyboard was made using sticky notes, which we then posted, like the rest of our work, onto Blogger. In hindsight, there were a few problems with the school's network. Uploading videos would be a slow and tedious process, and some file types weren't even supported by the programs. If we were aware of this, we would have been able to upload these from our own computers. Therefore, less time would have been spent uploading the videos and more time would have been spent editing them. We also had problems with memory on our local school computers. This was overcome, however, from external hard drives like memory sticks. For small minor editing, like the audience research, Windows Movie Maker was the best software to use. However, for the music video, more professional software was needed, so we used Sony Vegas. The differences between the two is one is a casual program used for just putting clips together and minor special effects, whereas Sony Vegas is a professional editing software used for things like movies or music videos. As for this evaluation, I'm using Windows Movie Maker, as it's as simple as putting a voice clip onto some pictures to show the audience what I'm talking about.